Hey, it's Clay. Welcome to another video. Today I'm doing a little bit of a test here in my backyard. I'm using my Bushnell Launch Monitor Pro and I'm testing two hybrids. The first one is kind of a standard 4 hybrid at 21 degrees. It's a Callaway Epic Flash hybrid set at 21 degrees. It plays to its standard and length stock, which I'll throw on the screen here, the specs. And comparing with it, I'm going to try a Cobra F9 One Length hybrid, which plays to about a 37.5 inches in length, so it's quite a bit shorter. It's got quite a bit heavier head, but both of them have the same static loft. And so I'm going to hit a bunch of shots with each. I'm going to pick the most representative 5 and show some numbers here in a second, and let's just see how they compare and what kind of results we see.
Never really crossed your mind. Never really crossed my mind. You sold my soul, and you sold my soul down the river Styx, down the river Styx.
Okay guys, here are the numbers that I collected. I ended up actually just keeping almost all of them in, and I thought that would actually be a little bit helpful. Most of my swings were actually relatively straightforward and consistent, and I do think it kind of highlights the experience that I had with these clubs. I'm just going to get right to the averages. At the bottom, you can see the Callaway basically averages more on every metric. Higher ball speed, which is mostly, I think, attributed to the longer shaft, making a higher club head speed, translating into higher ball speed. I know that the head weight on the Cobra is greater, and I think there, in my mind, there was some idea of, if you're swinging a hammer, if you swing a 12-ounce hammer versus a 10-ounce hammer, the heavier head will impart more force with less speed, but I think that was a little bit busted, at least for me and my purposes. The Callaway definitely averaged higher ball speed. Second, it also averaged higher launch. Now, launch I do think is related to ball speed. Higher, more velocity is going to create at least more peak height, but I also do think the longer shaft and the higher club head speed also really did contribute to that launch going up as well, which honestly, the launch being so low, especially on a couple of the Cobras, I had a 6.7, and then I had 3 in the 7s, 177, 175, and 175. So those low launches really, I think, are what kind of hurt me with the Cobras. Basically, I just don't generate enough speed and launch to really make it work. So then if you go to the carry distance, it's about 11 yards apart. And so for me to have a 21 degree sitting in at about 186, that's about honestly where I need it to be. Whereas 175, that just kind of bunches my gapping in a weird way. But then I also think it's important to look at spin. I generated more spin from the Callaway. So even though it's going to be going further, it's still spinning just as much, if not even a little bit more, so it's going to hold the green pretty decently well. And actually, some of my Callaways, I spun too much. Now, one thing I will note with the Callaway, I did have some variation, specifically in my third shot, had a 12.4 launch and a 3,500 total spin. That's a little bit of a nuker. That definitely, even with a lower ball speed, just the way I struck that one, that was one of my lowest ball speeds. Even 126 was by far the lowest ball speed I had with the Callaway. But because I got low spin, it really jumped. So there is some variation there with the Callaway, whereas the Cobra tended to spin very consistently. And I would say even the variation, I did have a couple of those low launchers. So I don't even know if I would say the Cobra was much more consistent. So as a whole, did the one length hybrid pay off? I think the main question would be whether or not I would strike it more consistently over the long term. But from this little test, I didn't really experience that. I would say that both of them had some variation. I had some good shots and some bad strikes. Maybe one thing you could note is that the ball speeds on the Cobras are all relatively consistent, whereas the ball speed on the Callaway tended to have a greater deviation. But that big difference being the launch number is just makes the Cobra not work very well for me. Launching at 6 degrees is just a tough to keep that club in the bag. So ultimately, for me, the one length was not very workable. I don't know if it's because I didn't have enough speed or it just didn't really fit with my swing, but I'm sticking with the Callaway. The Callaway has been good with me so far. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down below. See you again soon. Bye.